And
You've been getting good at this editing thing, so
hmm,
I trust your vision. This is our Halloween episode. I'm quite certain we've never done one before. So, you know, this is it. Years
this
in
is
the
our Halloween
making.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
There. Hmm. Ooh, I know. Yeah, I'm gonna find some spooky music while we do this cast.
Excellent. Okay, so why not talk about Halloween? I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and I'm gonna steal their subject matter because it's appropriate. Do you remember like days gone by, Halloween costumes that would now be absolutely inappropriate?
It's actually funny you mentioned that because I remember I think it was grade 7.
Okay.
Girl that came, and I mean in time like in Halloween it was rainy and slushy, and some years it was actually snow, but
Yes.
uh, I don't know what this sounds like. It's a little echoey in in my ears.
Inside
Anyway,
in your head.
yeah. The she dressed like Jasmine from Aladdin,
Okay.
and she had like the
Okay.
pants and the top and everything, and I was like,
Yeah.
damn, I want to
Yeah.
be Aladdin, you know.
Okay, so
But I wouldn't
question.
because those pants are so loose and thin. It would betray my
Everything.
prepubescent fucking.
Everything.
Oh my god.
Would reveal too much, as they say. So interestingly enough, on Friday we went to an indoor playground uh to do a little birthday thing with Isla's friends. It was her birthday. Um so like happy birthday to my now 3-year old. And when we were there was a little girl who was not the same ethnicity as Aladdin and was dressed fully in a Jasmine costume. And I had the thought at that time two things. To me, she was too young to be wearing and like maybe this is just dated beliefs and thoughts and whatnot, but
Right.
I was like, she's wearing too few clothes to be out in the world. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
then is that sexualizing kids? Like, am I the problem because
I'm never gonna say those two words together.
yeah, agreed. And don't know how else to explain it, so forgive me for even like stringing those words
I'm
together.
just yeah, I'm just busting balls.
But like, is it me and my brain that's like, oh God, we should not be letting kids dress like that? Or is it like it's freedom of speech? She can dress however she wants, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
where is that line? Is there a line? And also, then is it culturally appropriating
Stop right there.
other thing like
Children
if
can't
any
cultural appropriate.
yeah, they don't
That's not the
understand.
way to say it.
Yeah.
And also, cultural appropriation, I think, is a loaded term. I
Okay.
mean, like
Say more.
in my opinion, my opinion. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's all coming apart. My eye.
the,
My
the very
headphones.
thin
Oh.
the thin yeah, we won't make you do that again.
I feel like when we value other cultures,
Yeah.
we learn to love the best parts about those cultures,
Mhm.
and then
Mhm.
when you bring all of these pieces together, I think it just makes the world a little bit more fun to live in. You know what I mean? If 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 it's cultural appropriation, then like we can't enjoy food, we can't enjoy music, we can't enjoy dance.
Mm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
That's just
Mhm. Mhm.
my
I see it.
ignorant ass, but
No, I see it. I feel like there is a beauty in sharing and participating in other people's cultures. I think I think there is a line that you can cross. What
Okay.
that line is, does it depend on the culture? Does it depend on uh who's doing it and how? You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of
Hmm.
factors that go involved in that. But anyways, like first and foremost, I was more concerned about the quantity of clothing this little girl was wearing or not wearing. And I don't know why. And maybe it shouldn't bother me. And maybe that's my own hangups about stuff. Like, I have the same issue with bikinis for girls who are like prepubescent, even like if you're not an adult, why are you wearing a bikini kind of? And like that's my own problem with it. But
Yeah.
um
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
yeah, I also don't know why
It'd be interesting to like.
that bothers me.
Hmm.
And is it okay that that bothers me? And I just like it is what
Well,
it is,
first
and
of
other
all,
people are gonna
absolutely, it's okay.
yeah.
You know, you're allowed to have your feelings. You're allowed to have your opinions. There's nothing
Thank
wrong with
you.
that. And then I think because of that, I think it's also okay that they're dressing the way they want to.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, I think
Mm-hmm.
if we're calling it self expression, if we're calling it just children being fun, age
Yeah.
appropriate type of, I mean, Olivia walks around naked all the time.
Yeah, and that's I think that's and then the counter thought that I have is like, this is probably good for them because they're learning to not be self conscious about their bodies. And maybe
Well,
that's what it is. Maybe we just figured it out. I'm so self conscious about myself that I'd be like, oh my God, my child.
oh my god,
Um, yeah, but then they're not and they shouldn't be. And that's okay. So maybe that's a good thing.
oh man, what were you
Full
gonna?
circle.
Yeah, I had something to add to that, but I can't remember what
Oh,
it was now.
sorry. Olivia walks around naked
Oh,
and she loves
no,
it.
no, no, no.
No.
I remember this. So, you said, is this, sexualizing, whatever.
You don't even want to say the words. I understand. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no. I don't want to be misquoted and canceled. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
but if we can get to a place as a society where people can just be who they are, and that when you're interacting with someone else, they're not just giving you one of these, looking down at the tatas. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually interested in what you have to say. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think we can get there if we I'll say stop sexualizing. I'm not saying that's what you're doing,
Right.
but if we stop addressing it as if it's a critical issue,
Yeah.
and we teach people to be confident, and we teach them how to establish and respect their own boundaries,
Yeah.
how to be assertive and strong, I think some of these problems might go away.
Those are all
I
good
also
things.
feel
Yeah.
incredibly ridiculous having this conversation wearing a skull mask. I love it.
I was thinking about this. I was like, if we touch on any subject that is like remotely serious, we're gonna look like total doofuses. But that's okay. That's the fun.
Good,
um.
where'd you go?
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast where they were, I'll say, a bit crude about
Mm,
certain subject matter, and it made me realize that like we still need that in the world. We've become very serious about everything, and like we're judgment. There's so much judgment and criticism towards subjects and people and situations that like we generally don't know the full story. Like things that are happening with celebrity, for example, you never know the full story. Things that are going on, even like in the local news, right? You could be the person's best friend and still not fully know the situation. So, anyways, my whole point, I think, was just like to look at things maybe more critically and
or maybe less critically.
our maybe ourselves, like our own views, be like, hey, maybe we're being too critical about this.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah, I
what you
see
would
what you're
call that.
saying. so
Yeah.
then you can be less critical. Yeah, rather than wonder.
Self-reflective. Is that
Yeah, you know when they say like when you're pointing a finger, three of them are pointing back at you.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
For those just listening, you can try this at home.
just make a
Put out
finger
your
gun and you'll see.
finger gun. Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting too because we talk about how we view other people
Mm.
and their struggles or the things
Mm-hmm.
that maybe the decisions they make, the way they choose to live their lives, and how maybe that's divergent from how we choose to live our lives, and then it
Divergent
creates an us versus them sort of
feeling.
a schism, a barrier between people, and then we're disconnecting ourselves from each other, and that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's more beneficial is if rather than doing that, rather than wondering, uh, rather than judging, rather than criticizing, rather than looking down your nose, it could be, or in my case, I don't have a nose right now.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it could just be, maybe a little bit of compassion and empathy, especially if it's like more societally problematic type stuff, less,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how they parent or what kind of car they bought, you know what I mean? But like, I'm
Yeah.
talking drug addicts, I'm talking homeless people, I'm talking, you know, we the girl who got pregnant in high school. Everyone
Mm-hmm.
likes to judge these people, and all we're doing is piling shame on top of them instead of
Mm-hmm.
reaching out and saying, "Hey, can I help you? How you
Yeah.
doing?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
They're people too.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
but
I got
yeah,
good
do you
news.
have any? I was gonna. Yes. What is the good news?
You ready for this?
Okay.
Tell me. I don't know if you're gonna hear this.
Ooh, spooky. Yes. Have that just playing in the background the whole time.
Yeah, I'll turn it down a touch, and then we'll just speak over the howling winds.
Sounds like somebody's crawling through leaves.
Oh, I found. I downloaded a. Oh, someone's coming.
I want to play this in the headphones tomorrow to Anson and just like see what he thinks. He'll be like, ah!
Just shit his effing pants.
He's been really into spooky stuff, rightfully so. Um, but I'm trying to think of like some inappropriate costumes that I've seen over the years. I know somebody who distinctly dressed up. It was like a disco character, we'll say, but it was fully blackface.
Oh no,
Like
that's
fully
yeah.
blackface. Yeah, and at the time it was like I I will admit like I was laughing because I was like I can't believe you did that actually. Like you painted yourself.
So
Unreal.
I I googled most inappropriate Halloween costumes, and everything's coming up most offensive.
Yes, yeah, and I think that they're kind of one and the same
Oh,
because
is Hitler a bad
it
costume?
I've heard that Hitler's a terrible costume. Yeah, because we don't want to like somebody was like Hitler the early years. Like
Listen to
yeah.
this one.
Okay.
Someone dressed their baby up as a stripper. She had nipple tassels on. Oh my god. Oh, that's
Ah!
fuck. That's inappropriate as fuck.
That's yeah. That's
Oh,
I feel
this.
like that's the line. You know, we were talking about like what's the line sexualizing your kids. Like I think that's past the line.
Well, this one is too. An 8-year-old with a
Okay.
T-shirt that says "Future MILF."
Cool, 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 cool.
Cool,
That's
cool, cool,
also
cool.
making a huge assumption about her life choices that she's going to be a mother. So
I mean, we make a lot
double,
of assumptions.
double negative.
Yeah. What about like this is inappropriate, but I don't know that it crosses the line. But what about a
Okay.
pregnant son?
I was gonna say that was my next one. My friend was a pregnant nun in high school. Yeah.
How'd that go?
She wore like an enormous. It was like a wooden cross on necklace that resembled a oh my god, prayer beads on the, why can't I think of the word? Not your,
Oh, the rosary.
like your
Mhm.
rosary. Thank you. Yeah, so it was just like an epic rosary. And then yeah, she
It-
had like a padded stomach and stuff. Very, it again made us all laugh, but we were all just like, also that's whack. And then another friend of mine, the same Halloween, dressed as a ghost and just had a sheet with the eyes cut out and put the cross over their head and then immediately looked like a member of the KKK.
yeah,
And we were like, oh, okay, too far. Take it off.
yeah,
Take it off.
yeah.
Like, we
I,
can't.
I
This is too much.
I see it now. Yeah, yeah. This is bad
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Real bad idea. So,
this
yeah,
this
kibosh
from
that.
this is an interesting one, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. I pulled this up,
Okay.
surreyschools.ca, and I'm going
Okay.
to mispronounce this, but this particular school is Semiamu Secondary, and they got
Yeah.
some Halloween costumes may be unsuitable if they contain elements of race or
Okay.
ethnicity, culture, and they have examples like blackface, brownface, indigenous regalia and headdresses or hijabs, religion or
We have,
faith,
yeah.
religious figures, gods, saints, gurus. Not sure I agree
Okay.
with that. Gender switching for the purpose of humor or mockery. I don't know how.
I heard
You,
this. Okay. So we were, this podcast I was listening to, they were like, we used to have opposite day in school where like the boys would dress as girls and the girls would dress as boys. And everybody on the podcast was like, that seems like real progressive, no? And this is kind of like that feeling that I have where things have gotten like really serious and sensitive. And it's like, if we're going to have gender expression, if we're going to have people who are non-binary, if we're going to have all that, I think we have to be able to laugh at it a little bit, and I feel like that is a healthy way of making light of something, not making fun, but
mm-hmm.
just like enjoying and like maybe playing that up. It's the same reason I think a lot of people go into drag. Like, people maybe don't necessarily identify as a man, but some women will dress up as men in drag and do that, or women will dress as like drag queens, right? Do the big makeup and the hair, and it's just like an appreciation, I think, of that.
Yeah, it's
I
almost
think if it's not offensive, like if you're not being crude or what have you, I think that it's okay. And I don't see why you wouldn't.
I think a good example of that might be, and I think you've seen it on social media,
Hmm.
where people have a party and you come dressed up as your partner. Like Cassie would dress up as me, and I would dress up as Cassie. And
Yeah, I
then,
think that's hilarious. Yeah.
and I mean that's humor and mockery, but at least it's well intentioned and
Yes, exactly.
it's
Intention is
understood by
good.
everyone, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone is in the same boat, so to speak. Yeah, I think the intention for those kinds of things is positive. Or like, I've seen those parties and they make me laugh so much, where it's like dress like your dad, and like you
Mm.
show up in like 90s dad attire. And there's like the one TikTok that just makes me roll on the floor laugh, where she like whips the measuring tape out
Oh my
so
god, yeah, she's
so
so good.
seamlessly.
At the
She's like
barbecue?
whoosh, at the barbecue, and she measures it, and she's like 3 and 4/16 or whatever the
Yeah.
measurement is, and she's just like whoosh, like goes
Ain't no
right back
thing.
in. Yeah,
Yeah, that's clearly mockery. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
yeah,
like, don't take yourself so seriously, I guess is the point.
yeah. Not with ill intention. They're not out there being like, oh my god, I can't wait to totally demolish the image of my parent, and you know what I mean. I
Hmm.
think they're just like there to have a laugh and just like showcase the hilarity that is a lot of dads behaviors in that
Yeah,
particular example,
yeah,
you know
for
what I
sure.
mean. Yeah, I don't think people are out there, I hope, trying to like, I don't know,
This is it'll
do
be interesting now that
intentionally offensive shit.
when we go out tomorrow, we'll see what we see, and we'll have to report back.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious to see what all the costumes may. Maybe we can report back most offensive and least just for fun.
Oh my god, yeah,
Um,
it's so funny. And the funny, I
uh,
mean,
yeah.
I just feel like using the word offensive as a metric for the
Hmm.
appropriosity of a costume
Appropriosity.
is not good,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
because it's a subjective thing.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think like this list that they produced, I mean, whether you agree with it or not, at least it's a guideline, and it
Yeah.
helps. In schools, this is probably really important. Um,
Yes, they have to have like draw the line type
mhm.
of recommendations. Sorry, was that everything on the list, or were there other
There was one more, and it was ableism,
components?
mocking physical or mental abilities, and I think that's
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
like if you dressed up as
Yeah,
Stephen Hawking, I'm not sure.
they would like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because how do you know? Like, I mean, what if you're? I met a guy on the weekend. He's a laser physicist. What if he's just like truly a fan of Stephen Hawking? I don't know. I feel
He's
like
like,
as I'm
I
saying
just
it, it's a terrible idea, but
right. Yeah. I think if you have to start like explaining it, you're like, no, but it's, I think that that might be an indicator that things are not
but
kosher.
what I think there's an underlying
Is
assumption
that
here.
offensive to say? Can I say that?
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, if anyone's offended, like
Whoa.
obviously they're not our audience, but
I only said it because it's something that my mom has said like my whole life, but it just dawned on me that that's like a religious
could you
remark.
could you say it again now
Are you gonna
in
like
quotes?
isolate it?
No, I just really for the clip. I'm gonna put it on the TikTok. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, is this kosher?
Oh, is that what you said?
Hmm.
I mean, so I know, for example, in the military, we're not allowed. We're
Okay.
not. I only say this because we're not allowed to say a lot of things. They're trying to remove a lot of that kind of speech from our, or a lot of that language from our speech, just again to make everyone feel included and not
Yes.
not alienated or whatnot.
Yes.
I personally have no problem with kosher, but who knows, right? It's in the end of the day, it's not up to any one individual. It's up to the person who heard it and whether or not. I
True.
guess that is one individual.
Yeah. And if one person is offended by it, is it like is that? I feel like deep
You cut
thought
out for that
or
whole
I cut
thing.
out. Oh, I see. I was like, you're either in deep thought or you didn't hear anything I said. I said if one person's offended, is that the metric to like stop what you're saying or doing?
Um, I want to
Should
say
people's offense be a measuring tool, or should it be something else? And if so, what would that be? Like, what's a reasonable?
I mean, that's a really interesting question, I think. And I think it's fraught with peril. Um,
Yeah, there maybe is no right answer, really.
I don't
Yeah.
think there is a right answer. I think, I
Hmm.
mean, if we're looking if we're looking in terms of not hurting anyone's feelings, I think that's an impossible way to live.
Hmm.
And I'll say it because of this. As an
Possible. Yes.
individual, you're
Yeah.
responsible for your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
I'm
okay.
sure things make you feel certain ways, but that's your problem. And it's not to suggest that anyone is insensitive or doesn't care, but I mean, you can't get anything done in a day if you're just worried about other people all the time. There's being considerate, not
Yeah.
dressing up like the KKK, super considerate, very demure, very mindful. Um, but conversely, so look at the mask I'm wearing.
Hmm.
In Mexico, they celebrate the Day of the Dead.
This could be offensive.
Is this offensive?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I think it's
I'm basically a Disney adult right now. Is this offensive?
yeah, like
Yeah.
Someone somewhere is offended always.
Yeah. Fair. Fair.
And
Fair. Fair.
while I wish that everyone could live their lives without experiencing the hurt and pain of hearing things that they don't want to hear, it's
Life
impossible.
is suffering. We
It
covered
it
that on a
truly
previous
is.
episode. Yeah.
It truly is. And it's not because I want people to feel excluded or alienated or embarrassed or ashamed or whatever they might feel when they see certain things,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, hey, let's just be a little bit more assured of ourselves and be okay with things that aren't blatant racism, blatant phobias or phobics.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying though, right?
Phobios. Yeah. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as
Yeah.
people aren't behaving in a, they're not being hateful and mean, I think.
I guess that's again goes back to kind of like the intention of it. What the intention
Yeah.
ultimately might be.
I agree with you on that, but I
Yeah.
just know that in many cases when they write laws or rules or policies about this kind of stuff, um,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things they say is your intent is not part of the equation. So if I
Mm-hmm.
say something
Interesting.
at work that's offensive, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
mean it to be offensive, I could still get in trouble. I could still be reported for harassment or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the distinction here is it's not necessarily always to drop the hammer on someone, but it's to allow a situation to be mediated properly so that it doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because yeah, like regardless of your intention, you still might hurt someone in a professional setting. I suppose I get that, um, but I think it's really difficult to enforce that kind of rule making when you're outside of a professional organization. A society doesn't have
Totally.
to
Totally.
agree or listen to any of this stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think it's ever able to be applied like 1,000% across the board either,
No.
right? Yeah.
But what I think would help a lot of this go away is, regardless of the intention you have with the costume, if you kind of approach every day with the intention of bringing joy to the world, being nice to
Mm-hmm.
people, being nice to yourself, I'm
If your
sure.
spirit, if your spirit is like positive,
Yeah, like
if that's
positive high aura only. Is that does that make sense? Is that a can we use
max
that?
aura points only.
Max
Yeah.
aura points. Love it.
I'm quickly going to let the people know that we are live. So I don't know if
Let
that's an
the people
intermission.
know. I feel like I'm talking loud, but I can't tell.
Can you hear me? Oh my gosh. If I may, there was I had to use the words use your inside voice so many times today on my bus. And like there's not a lot of
It's too bad
kids.
you don't really have a light switch you can flick on and off, eh?
I do, but you just can't see it at this time of year yet.
Have you ever thought about just yelling at them?
Oh, I do.
Hey,
Yeah,
knock it off!
they're literally so oblivious sometimes. Like they're just like ba 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 ba, and I have to like yell repeatedly loudly.
I want to go back to being oblivious. And having said that out loud, I know a lot of people will comment and say I already am. I'd like, if that's the case, I want to go back to being more oblivious.
uh yes. I mean, I think about this often. I was like, I don't remember. Like, I remember my bus driver at times, like, telling kids to sit down and stuff, but like, so either we were cut out kids
Yeah, but it's
or
okay. I got the gist.
oh,
I
okay.
got the yist.
Or yeah. They're they're different. Who knows? But one of the kids was like, I had to write him up last week because he physically injured somebody.
Oh no.
Yeah, it happens a lot. Oddly enough,
I mean,
with these
kids are
kiddos.
kids.
This is it, yeah, and they're like unrestrained on a moving vessel. And anywho, his mom came over And she's like, I got his yellow slip, which is like the sheet that she receives out of the, because there's carbon copies, like 5 of them. And I was like, mm-hmm. She's like, I had no idea. I was like, okay. She's like, here's my number. And I'm not supposed to have parents' numbers, but she gave it to me. So I was like, what do I do with this? So anyway, I put it in my bag and she's like, they know that you have my number now and that you're going to contact me if anything else happens. And I was like, thank you, mucho.
Thank you, Mucho.
Yeah, so that's good. And that's what I got to say about that. Okay, posting to the story. We're live on YouTube. So for those of us joining live, what was I saying? We're getting to something. Okay, I have a bit of a gripe to talk about. Not a grape, a gripe. What's the dealio with airlines removing baggage from the price of their fees? Because, like, I totally understand, like, just booking a flight and not getting a checked bag. That's fine. A lot of people will just take, like, a carry-on, and then a lot of airlines charge you more for the carry-on now because they're like, oh, people are using the carry-on as a loophole. And like, but when you're booking a holiday or vacation, or I would say even booking than, I don't know, 3-4 days, why aren't we just tossing in that fee for the baggage?
This is utter horseshit.
What's
Look at this. So I went to the WestJet site because that's the so for everyone.
Oh, okay.
We were looking to book a vacation.
A vacation.
So they got 5 fares.
Options.
They got ultra basic, econo, or member exclusive, which is the same category. Econo flex, premium or premium flex, and business
Is
or
that
business
if you're
flex.
WestJet like rewards or whatever?
I don't know, and I don't care.
Oh, okay.
The first two, you have to pay for your check bag, which makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
But I want to see where the carry-on shit is.
Because there used to be a fee associated to a bag that was bigger than a certain size.
So it says wet. So we got into this because the flight we were looking at made it. They said no carry-on.
Only a personal item, which is for like as a woman, I feel like to me that's a purse.
So the only way we get a carry-on.
So am I going on a 7-day vacation with a purse? Like, who's doing that?
So the purse is like your personal item, right? It's like a
yeah. It's crazy. Of course, I'm gonna bring more than that. Psychopaths.
The checked bag. Sorry, not the checked bag. Where is this carry-on? Come here. WestJet allows each econo member exclusive guest to bring 1 carry-on bag and 1 personal item. Ultra basic carry-on. So when we were looking at this vacation, it was ultra basic or an extra $170 to go to econo. Econo.
$170 to go to econo?
Oh my god. Anyway, we're allowed to bring 1 personal item. WestJet does not allow ultra basic guests. It sounds rude when they say it like that.
Yeah. Ultra basic.
Easy with the shade, Felicia.
Yeah.
And so we have to pay for carry-on, except in the following cases. Europe and Asia, no. Fuck off. You know what? You know why this drives me nuts?
It's a distance thing. It's a distance thing. If you're going so far, then they will let you carry.
Fucking hate companies. They're driving me nuts. I went to the grocery store the other day to get bread. I walked around in circles just fuming. Because everything's
at the price?
Yeah, everything's so expensive for no reason.
Yeah, dude, I don't understand. And so, like, the fare that
I'm gonna call WestJet and just yell.
That you look at is not what you end up paying, which I guess maybe that's just the future. Like, you just end up, you're like, okay, well, that's the fee, and then once I add my baggage, blah blah blah, like that's how much it will cost. And like maybe they're hoping to like bamboozle people who can't do the math. But I'm pretty sure your bank account will tell you after you've paid for it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna
Look,
be
listen to
blind
this.
to it forever. Sorry, go
Ultra
ahead.
basic guests are not allowed to bring or pay for a carry-on. So
You're
if
not
we go
allowed to
ultra
pay.
basic, we're not even allowed to. We don't even have the option to pay for the carry-on. I almost feel
Right.
like we should find something that's not WestJet because fuck these assholes.
That
I
seems
hope
like a.
at WestJet #WestJet, pull your head out of your ass.
I don't understand
Fucking,
why they wouldn't give you the option to pay. Is that just because of the aircraft that they're using for ultra basic flights?
uh, that's a good question, and I don't know, but my assumption is that you have multiple fare categories on each flight.
For every flight. Okay.
Like, and then you're gonna show up, and they're gonna. So you have no
I'm
carry-on,
confused. Yeah.
like maybe a personal item. I can't remember. And if they lose your luggage, you're fucked.
You're yeah. Put at least a pair of underwear in your
Oh my
personal item
god, like
so that
so
you can make it
depressing.
through. Yeah, I don't know. I think I might start like vacuum packing stuff for my holidays so I can like condense. And that's a whole other thing. Just like packing light is a whole art in and of itself. Um yeah, I just like I'm real perplexed, I guess, is my point of bringing it up is like every airline has a different fee for said luggage, right? Um it's not like that's a standardized thing. They all have more or less standard aircrafts that they use. Like for example, Boeing makes a pile of them and then sells them to the airlines. So that's not the factor that changes, right? I think the factor that's changing is the people traveling and then the luggage that they're bringing. So are they trying to discourage people from bringing luggage,
I have no idea why.
or do they just want to see more money and this is like a money
I think
grab
it's just a money grab. I drove into work this morning. It was
thing?
gas was 138 at the Odessa gas station just before you get to the
Yeah.
highway. And
Yep.
then I got off the highway at highway on the 15 to get into work,
Yeah.
and the gas
Yep.
station there was 148.
10-cent difference.
Riddle me this.
Yeah, for what reason?
Like I don't get it. It's because it's close to the highway. Actually, that doesn't
Right.
make sense. Odessa's close to the highway too.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that one, but gas stations are probably like the most prolific in having non-standardized prices. Like they're all told like this is the base fee or whatever, but then they kind of like adjust their fee to what they feel like they want people to pay. Is that how it works? Not too sure.
I don't even want to know. I just
I
want
don't even want
the
to
people
Google
who
that.
made this
Yeah.
decision to fall off the earth.
We don't like it. So please stop. Um yeah. Uh so all in all, we're going to end up paying for baggage because there is no way you're going somewhere for a week that is a different climate and temperature than where the place you're leaving. Like you're not going to wear all of the I guess you could. Is that the goal? You just like start wearing 16 layers
I
and then
went
you
to
show up and then you take all your clothes off and then that's just what you have? Like is that
we'll just buy
apparently
all our
some
clothes there.
right, yeah. Or do that. I mean my mom had to. They lost her luggage on her way to a holiday last year. This past spring. I think this past spring. And yeah, they lost her bag going to the vacation and I was like, "Please tell me you put a swimsuit in your bag." She was like, "Jenna, I was completely unprepared." I was like, "Oh man, that sucks." Told me
I'm on
that
the
tip once. Like at least pack a swimsuit and like one change of clothes in the bag that you carry on with you. And I was like, that's smart.
I'm on the WestJet live chat. Stand by.
Oh, excellent. Tell me more about your fare prices and how you found the audacity to do this. I'm curious to see, why do we pay for luggage now? Because believe it or not, kids, oh, AI overview. Airlines charge for baggage for a number of reasons, including revenue. Airlines can offset lower ticket prices by charging for baggage. Taxes. Charging for baggage separately can save airlines money on taxes. For example, the US government doesn't apply the 7.5% tax to international flights that go more than 225 miles beyond the nation's borders. Okay. So is that why they allow? Interesting.
What was it called? Was it Econo Basic? Is that what we're saying?
Ultra basic, I think. Unbundling fares. Airlines can unbundle fares so customers only pay for what they need. They're trying to make it sound like it's for the customer. Which, like, some
Don't
people it
pretend
is.
like
Like,
you're trying to help me.
like some people are probably traveling light. If they're doing like day trip, business, whatever, they probably don't need very much. So they probably can just get away with the small bag. But like, are they economizing? Because like the flight costs the same. It costs more for other people who want baggage. Inflation and operating costs. Oh lordy. Here are some ways to avoid paying baggage fees. Book a flight with the airline that doesn't charge baggage fees.
Don't
LOL,
bring
they
baggage.
they all do now. Join a freaking flyer program. Consider a fare upgrade.
Ultra
Pay for
basic. I
baggage
knew it was
ahead of
ridiculous.
time. If you pay for baggage ahead of time, it's a lower fee. Or check your baggage at the gate. Okay, I always was curious about this because they're like, oh, you could check your bag at the gate if you want. And I'm like, but some people paid in advance to do that.
Yeah.
So how come these assholes are not being charged? I've been that asshole before that's not being charged. And I was like, don't I have to pay? They're like, no, we don't have room. So we need you to check your bag. I was like, oh, sweet Lord. Okay, so Air Canada joins WestJet in hiking checked bag fee. March 1st, 2024. Rude. Checked bag fees are behind a lot of what's wrong with air travel today. Wow, no way. You know what? I'm willing to bet, I haven't read this yet, but I'm willing to bet that this has something to do with the fact that baggage gets lost so much more. So people probably show up to the airport assuming they have a checked bag. And then they get there, they're like, no, you have to pay extra. And then they're printing out a ticket, and then your ticket goes through, and it's a new thing, and they weren't expecting it. And so then luggage is flying all over the place that they weren't initially anticipating or expecting. This is my assumption. Okay, I'm going to quickly do brief you on what this article says. This is, by the way, oops, Globe and Mail. Do we trust this news source, or is this fake news? Our buddy Rob Carrick, he wrote this on June 13th, 2024. Oh, never mind.
All right.
There's nothing here. It was, I have to pay more if I want to read this one. To continue reading, subscribe. Sorry, Globe and Mail.
I thought it was like the WestJet site. If you want answers to our questions, pay
us. Can you imagine? That would be crooked. So crooked. All this to say, I would love people's opinions on how they book vacations and include baggage if possible, if that's even still a thing, and or what people are doing with their baggage and their luggage and carry-ons, etc. How are we traveling these days with our goods? Yeah.
I
I
mean, we're
don't know.
getting more and more to just not traveling because everything's so expensive.
Well, that too. Yeah, there at some point it just becomes a little bit ridiculous. The like super cheap vacations that we used to go on are now seemingly like would be unattainable if I was still making the same money I was making then. You know what I mean? But I guess maybe the inflation has changed there too. Who knows? This is a bigger question, I think, is what I'm realizing. But yeah, really got me thinking. Okay, so hang on. I was saying if it's 225 miles away from your destination of origin, Colin, you're just like typing away
I'm being
feverishly.
so when you go to the automated chat
Is
things,
it
they
an
always make
AI or is it a person?
it's always AI to start, and I always type
Okay.
in representative because I don't want to go through that bullshit. But
Oh, you could do that?
sometimes you
That's a
can.
life
In this one,
hack.
you couldn't.
That oh,
So,
okay.
like in Rogers, you can, I think.
Sometimes I like it.
Hmm. So anyway,
Representative.
they're like, do you have a flight number or a reservation? I said no. A while later,
Can
I
you
get connected.
type in manager immediately?
So this person
Hmm.
is now chatting with me, and then they
Hmm.
asked, "Do you have the 6 letter reservation code?" I said, "Oh, the system must not be working. I already told the chat that I don't have a reservation yet. Pretty difficult to travel when baggage is costing so much extra."
Okay, what's the response?
It's 3 dots right now. Stand by.
I want to hear
I,
this one.
yeah,
It's gonna be good.
it would be
This
really
poor
funny if she saw
representative
me
has no idea.
dressed as death right now.
Right. Please take a photograph of yourself. Oh, I will give a big shout out to the Whitby Service Canada office for
Oh yeah.
being able to expedite a passport.
Mm-hmm.
We went to book last week, right? To our dismay, Jordan's passport was expiring less than 2 months after our date of travel. They say you should have a passport that expires 6 months beyond your date of travel. And this is in the event that you get stuck in some kind of coup, and then you're trapped in a country for multiple months. Who knows, right? With everything that's going on in the world, it's impossible to say. So, for more or less visa reasons, like legality, so you're not being
Mm-hmm.
put in jail for traveling illegally, you should have a passport that expires 6 months beyond your date of return of your travel. So we didn't have that. And yeah. And then we're kind of like, to renew a passport is much easier than to apply, I think. And you just need two people to kind of just like vouch and say, yes, you are the human that you say you are. So we got those two people to sign. Witnesses or
Guarantors.
guarantors. Thank you. And so yeah, they filled all that out. Jordan went and got a picture done. I think it's like $30 to get your passport photo done. Oh, you
Oh
got an
my god,
answer?
it's ridiculous. It used to be $10. Why is it so much more
Oh,
expensive?
it's yeah, yeah. I mean, it might as well be 100. Who
Like
knows?
seriously, you use a
Yeah.
disposable fucking camera
Mm,
and you stamp it. Don't pretend like the
mm-hmm.
shopper's employee's time is valuable. If it was, you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
pay the minimum wage.
You would not pay the minimum wage.
Listen to
Yeah.
this. She goes, "I
Okay, tell me.
apologize for she. I don't know who. I apologize for the inconvenience. Please
Sorry, does
allow
it
me
give
some
you a
time."
name?
Yeah, it's Vaishnavi. I'm
Okay.
not pronouncing that correctly.
Okay. Do you
Vaishnavi
want to
writes, "I
spell it?
apologize for the inconvenience. Please allow me time while I check the information for your request." I'm sorry. This is a very basic question. How do you not have the information right here? The fucking
Perhaps
scripts
this
they give
a
these
new
people.
employee. Yeah, well that's part of it too. When you work in like a customer service, I've
Yeah.
worked in a call center before, but not like a online one. feel like it
Yeah,
would
like-
be a lot less difficult
Yeah,
for
because you're not
some
actually
reason.
hearing people's like if she
Yelling
was
at
listening
you.
to if I was talking to her, she'd have hung up on me already.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Let's not upset this poor person. Oh my goodness.
Well, I'm bringing her down with me.
We're gonna tag her or him.
Them.
They them. uh so that they can hopefully have a laugh.
All that
about
said,
being
I'm
on the
very aware
podcast.
that this individual has done nothing wrong. They just
They've
happen to
done
be
nothing. Yeah. The person
only
that was
person.
assigned to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was I gonna say? It's gone. Tis gone.
She's gone. Still gonna book a trip and we're gonna go somewhere. Oh, as per the policy.
Okay.
So thank you. I read the policy.
Did this person break down the cost of the luggages? What's happening, Colin? Update us.
Just give me a second here.
Colin types feverishly in response to the customer service representative. We are awaiting answers impatiently. The listeners sigh.
As per the policy, if you travel within Canada with ultra basic cabin, there will be no carry-on baggage available. Duh.
Okay.
If you purchase the
Cool.
extended comfort seats, upcharge,
Ooh.
you are eligible for the carry-on baggage. I said, thank you. I read the policy. I would like to know why, in capitals, there is no carry-on allowed for ultra basic. The policy does not explain why. And I promise you, I'm nearly positive they won't have an answer. Give me
let me
the
get-
management decision
Yeah.
that informed this fucking thing.
They had a meeting about it, right? Like people sat down and discussed what the different fares were going to be and why. And that was, yeah. We just want to know. We're going to get down to the bottom of this, folks.
Da-da-da-da.
My little faux
Yeah.
Guinness there. Celebrating.
Finis.
Finis. What was I looking at? Okay. Oh yeah, my Globe and Mail article that was not so helpful. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. I'm sure I've talked about this before. But like signing up for activities in my area is like cutthroat.
Oh yeah.
Can
Yeah,
I
same here.
describe to you? Yeah, can I describe to you the process this week that I endured? It's just wild. It's wild to me.
Sorry, I'm
What
just
people
my
are
lips are a little
doing.
chapped.
Yeah, I wanted to I wanted to first say this is like it's just it is what it is. I've accepted it. I enjoy informing other people about it because I don't think they realize, and maybe if you don't have kids yet, you don't realize this is even a thing. But I'm certain that in many places, like you said, you suffer from this as well. Suffer. You know, it's just part of being a parent these days, if you will. So there's a higher demand than there is supply for lessons of various types, and specifically in this case, swimming lessons. And this week was sign up, so you have to like be on your computer at 5 or 10 to with everything totally dialed in. They used to give you this option where you could like wish list the class and it would put it in your wish list. And then you could kind of just go to your wish list and click on the thing and sign up for it add it to your cart, pay for it, whatever. Um, this process takes, a minute or two to actually go through. Um, Typically, our activities, our swimming lessons are all booked, all of them. They have swimming lessons every night of the week and Saturdays.
This is my
Two.
guess. I'll tell you
Oh,
later.
yeah, they're sold out like within 3 or 4 minutes. All of them.
That was 2 minutes. That's what I held on my fingers.
Oh, I see, I see.
Because we had the same
So,
problem. Like,
have you and I feel terribly because there's this maybe not such a big deal for people who are like older, signing up for, we'll say, like maybe aqua seniors aquafit and stuff like that. Like maybe it's not so cutthroat, hopefully for them it's not. But like if you're not online and signing up within those first 4 minutes, like between 7 and 7:04, you're not getting into the activities. And I'm just like, it blows my mind that they're just like they're offering as much as they possibly can offer, I think, like in a safe way.
yeah.
And still there's not enough. Like
Mhm.
there could still be more, right? So it's like, how do you, is there a solution to this? Is just this the way that things are? Do we just accept this? And I think ultimately that is just a fact of life. Like we didn't do swim lessons for almost a year because I couldn't be bothered with the stress
Mhm.
to sign up. And so I had Anson, like I was signing him up on the computer while simultaneously having my phone open and signing Isla up on my phone because I was like, if
Oh,
I don't get in here, I'm toast. And praise be, they're they're both in for 9 a.m. on Saturdays. But
yo.
I think I just got lucky because I picked a Saturday. And I think Saturday might be like the least preferred day.
Mhm.
Thumbs down for you. But
No,
I
yeah.
figured if Jordan ever has to work a Saturday, I can have them both do the class at the same time. I don't say it'll be much easier. I'm sure it will still come with its challenges and you know pros and cons, if you will. But yeah, it was mostly just to ease my mind and knowing if I had to do it, if Jordan were unavailable to go with me for whatever reason, I can do it on my own and not have to entertain somebody. I could get like 30 minutes of watching them in the pool and getting so excited and just getting to watch them and having a bit of that woosah time, you know. Yeah, sorry, I feel like you were gonna say something. Same process for you guys, like you're logged in, dialed in, ready to go. Colin's focused.
I think it's a dead end. As per the policy, and then just reads all the same shit off again.
Oh, I see.
I said, this is not helpful. Big decision for us to make. I'd like to know what and why I'm paying for something that has never been like this before. I'm unsure why you cannot answer the question.
Oh dear.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens here.
Just as per the policy.
Yeah,
I'll bet.
we our time slots were a lot harder. We got actually no, it's just William that's in swimming because Olivia's doing dance. So she does dance on
But do you have to
5:30.
sign up at the same time?
No, I don't think so. No, I think the registration is
Are
different
they
days. I don't
are
know
they
actually.
both equally difficult to get
I actually can't remember.
into?
I booked Williams swimming and that one worked out really well. I just happened like it was the same thing. I was at my
Yeah,
computer ready to go and all I
yeah.
had to do was click it and then cart and done.
Enter
But I
credit
had to
card
do that
type of
because
thing.
we wouldn't
Yeah,
have gotten it. And there's been
yeah.
occasions where we've tried to register him and we haven't been able to because of that. So I think he does swimming at 6:30 on Wednesday. So that's a pretty coveted time slot. But
Okay.
for the same reason it works out. If I'm gone or if Cassie's gone, dance at 5:30, 6 o'clock it's done, and then I got a half an hour to get William to the pool for 6:30. So it
Yeah.
works out pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can like switch and take turns if need be, right? So that's
We
good.
we usually like
Yeah.
I'll usually take her to dance, and Cassie usually takes him to swimming. Mainly because sitting inside the pool watching them swim is not only boring, but it's also insanely hot, and I
It's
don't like
super
sitting in
steamy.
yeah. Cassie's used to it.
But
She
yeah.
was a lifeguard. She can handle it, and she doesn't mind the
Hmm.
heat as much as I do. So I'm really grateful for that. But yeah, the options there
Hmm.
if one of us needs to take both of them. So yeah, we're just happy that they're in activities, and at least once a week they got something to do. We here I got a question for
Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
we we got some friends that and one of them one of them's a listener for sure. Uh, they put their kid in something most nights a week, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's really difficult to manage. Um, I'm
I mean, unless you're the kind of person that thrives in that environment,
yeah, you know what,
right?
you might be right. Yeah, these people are highly dynamic. They're go
Yeah.
getters for sure. And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just jealous because I'm a go getter, but not after work. You know,
To a certain extent. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
You
a
have your
go got 'em,
limits.
and I'm gonna take a break now, kind of thing. Uh,
uh Sorry, what was your what was the question?
what would be would you do multiple nights a week of activities or events or like scheduled stuff
Good
that you pay
question.
for?
I've tried.
Mm,
I'm not the right person for it. I think I get so overwhelmed with like needing to be on time, needing to feed them, needing to get out the door. Last year was impossible. So the year before that, I had done there was like one night where Anson did it was called Jim Dandy and I had both of them in it. It was really cute. It was just like indoor playground, semi-structured activities and songs, like really fun. We did that and that worked out really well. And then one night a week he had swimming. And I want to say I tried to squeeze something else in there, but just even those two activities was too much for me on a regular basis. At the time, Isla was much younger as well. I wonder if it would be different now. Like she was
mm,
walking and mobile, but at the age where she was also like so excited to be mobile that she was like, nobody's holding me back. No way. And so she was off, and I had to be chasing her all the time. Um, and I felt like that maybe took away from Anson's experience with things because then I was distracted from him and it was like his thing anyways.
that's not a good way to look at it.
Yeah, maybe I'm just jaded. Like he was probably just happy that I was there maybe, but
Yeah,
I
you're
think
not
I
that
just found
important.
it or yeah, or he was just having fun.
Yeah.
And I was just running around like a chicken with my head cut off
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's true. It can be a lot, but I think I just did that to myself. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it had to be that difficult. I think I just like didn't manage it well emotionally.
Yeah.
Um and I realized
It's
like
hard
that's
though.
too much for me. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's a dead end. I sincerely apologize for the inconvenience, and then the policy again. And then she writes, "Is there anything else we can assist you with?" What do you mean
Oh.
assist? You've not assisted me at all.
Enjoy your day. Is there a manager I could speak to? But yeah, I do know families and parents who do things more than once a week. And I really like I have so much admiration for them because I'm like I was on that struggle bus hard, you know?
I feel like it's That's so indicative of something that's really pervasive and problematic with parents and especially mothers is you almost can't make a decision, especially if it's between two kids, or like how you do something where you don't, there's not a trade-off and you don't feel bad about it. And I think the problem with
Yeah.
that is
Zero guilt. Oh god.
the reason why I have a problem with it is because there doesn't need to be those feelings associated with the decision you've made. The reason why you have
Mhm.
those feelings is because you think, I'm using the royal you. I don't know if this applies to
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
kind of my opinion.
Probably.
You think that because one of the kids didn't get your time, or one of the kids, you know what I mean, like just because things weren't equal or fair, it means that
Yeah.
you're a bad parent because you couldn't do it all. You know
I
what I
haven't
mean?
done the thing. Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
absolutely asinine
Yeah.
and ridiculous to think that you could be everywhere and do everything all at once. Like
Right. Yeah.
you're
That's
like
true.
and also, if we're being honest, kids don't need their parents around as much as they are. Like kids,
I think yeah, this is something that I'm I don't want to say I'm coming to the realization of, but like I have realized and I'm kind of trying to adopt now in life. And it's a tricky thing to do because like as your kids get older, especially, it's more obvious that they don't necessarily need
well, not even then. Like
it's
even at their ages now, like William's 7, Olivia's 5, Anson's 5, 6. I don't know.
soon 6. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and Isla's 3. I mean,
Mhm.
we think that if we're not there, we're not parenting.
They're not okay. That's what I think.
Yeah, but it's
I'm
not the
like
case.
if I'm not there, then they won't know that I'm always there for them.
And
But
yeah,
that's
like
yeah, that's not the case.
I
Sorry,
feel
I'm
bad
laughing
sometimes.
because I said it out loud, something that I've been thinking for a long time, and it sounds a little bit ridiculous.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think everyone needs to be a little bit more forgiving with themselves,
Hmm.
especially when you consider the fact that eventually, if you keep that up, not only are you going to give yourself a mental breakdown, but you're going to burn yourself out completely, and then you're not going to be there for anyone, including yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the episode, but we need to be kinder to ourselves first. Give
Yeah.
yourself a break.
Yep.
Your kids don't
Yep. Yep.
need you as much as you think they do.
It's yeah. It they are on their own path and they're living their own journey, and our relationships with them aren't really going to happen until their frontal lobe is fully developed. Like we're parenting them, but like everybody's experience is unique, and it's kind of, is it narcissistic to think that like they need to have us around so that their lives are good? You know what I mean? Like I've been having this thought a bunch. Not even is it narcissist, like is it like what is it doing for them? Like if the goal is to like really be there for them and like support them and give them everything that they need, maybe what they need is not always us, their parents, right?
Yeah, sometimes they just need
That's
space to
difficult.
grow into.
Mm-hmm.
So
They need
here's a good
space,
example.
yeah. Free time. They need boredom. They need so much so that they can develop their self identity. Is that the word? Self identity? And like the royal you and myself, like that's like a deeper realization that's like, oh wow.
Um,
This
yeah, so as an example, to relate to, giving them space to grow into. Um, when your kids are around you, you're watching what they're doing. You're constantly giving them input. You're constantly,
feedback.
that girl with the pig and she's got the stick. She's guiding it around.
Yes.
You're doing that kind of shit, and it's not because
Yeah.
you're helicoptering or you're hovering. It's just you see something, you react. You see something, you say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we do weapons drills. Any profession that handles firearms does weapons drills, so they can learn to
Mhm.
do them properly. One of the things we do on basic training is when they teach you how to go through your initial actions and your stoppages to,
Mhm.
you're firing your weapon and it stops. There's only so many things that could be the problem. So they take you
Mhm.
through those things and then they drill it so that eventually you get to a point where you remedy whatever these problems are in a very fast time frame. Um,
Okay.
but what happens is when we're
Speed,
doing the training,
accuracy.
well, when I was doing the training, I don't know if it's changed since I've been through basic, but you're kind of holding your weapon. They say weapon fire, weapon stops. You can't your weapon to the side because you can see into the chamber, and you want to
Yep.
know if there's a jammed round, if the bolt's forward, or if the bolt's back, or if the bolt's partially obstructed. And those are kind of your cues on what to do next.
Okay.
Um, the problem with that is if you keep doing this and you keep making them say check, and you don't get to a point where they're doing the complete drill on their own from start to finish. And when they say check the first time, they're looking at the instructor because it's just the first part of the drill, and then you slowly build up to the point where they're not doing check and waiting for the instructor. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
kind of like a very very basic example, but if you don't give the soldier the space to grow into being comfortable and confident in their skills to handle that weapon,
Yep.
um, I mean, you're not doing your job. And likewise
Mhm.
with children, you got to give them space to learn, space to make mistakes where you're not watching them constantly, so they can realize that they can make mistakes, and sometimes the outcomes aren't terrible, sometimes they are, and it's still okay, and
Yeah.
they can make mistakes without. I'm not suggesting that a parent being there to correct the mistake will cause this, but when kids learn that they can make mistakes and they can fix them on their own, they gain confidence, they gain self assuredness, and you know what I mean. They carry themselves a bit differently. But if you're always there, they don't get that opportunity. It's not because you're parenting poorly or you're parenting wrong. You're just parenting.
Mhm.
But if you're
Mhm.
always parenting, they're never growing. They're
Mhm.
they're only going to grow to a certain point, and then you got a mama's boy who
Yeah.
doesn't do his own laundry and doesn't know how to cook. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you're always going to be there, always be there and be a support. Don't
Mm-hmm.
be the doer. I feel like that's a very difficult thing to get out of because, like, I know for myself, like, at some point your kids get old enough, they can go to the cupboard and get themselves a snack. They can open their own applesauce. They can open their own cheese snack, whatever it is. You know what I mean? They do learn to do those things, but like you said, like you have to give them the space and the opportunity to do that. If you're always just like, here you go, it's open.
Yeah,
Here
let
you
me
go,
get
it's
that for
open.
you.
Here you go, it's open. Let me get that for you. Let me fix it. Let me do it. And you take over. I think it's like very clear how quickly that will cause them to be not only complacent, but maybe they'll expect it. They'll expect other adults in their life and other people in their life to do those kinds of things for them. And then also, they don't gain, like you said, the skills, the knowledge, make the mistakes that they need to do better. Because in mistakes, we all learn. I don't want to say we stopped doing this, but I haven't done this regularly with Anson. And I think I was at an age where I can start doing it with her, where we would talk about like your favorite part of the day and then your least favorite part of the day. And then also what's something that you think you can improve on, like a mistake you made or a lesson you learned, whatever that might be. Those things are often in my mind like the same thing. Um, and I feel like I'm trying to teach them to be self-reflective, but like in a productive way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
As
for sure.
opposed to just being like, how did I fuck up today? You know what I mean? um and try and like gain something from it. Like if you're going to be self-reflective, like you can gain a little bit of insight or knowledge and be like, I did learn this, and
It-
maybe give yourself a pat on the back for having gained skill, or sometimes you might not even realize that you've learned from an opportunity, or like, hey,
yeah,
what was my favorite part about today? Oh, or if, especially if you feel like you've had a shitty day, um what was my favorite part of this so-called shitty
yeah,
day, right?
yeah.
Because there's always a silver lining, even if you had a terrible day. um
Kind of shows too that it's
so
okay to
yeah,
talk about things that aren't going well. It's
this
okay to
too.
talk about the bad stuff.
Yeah,
Because
I
if we
think.
don't ask them, they won't tell. And then it's like, why don't they care about what's not going well? You know what I mean? I don't know if that's the case, but
Right.
it seems
Yeah,
logical to me.
I hadn't really considered it that way, but like, yeah, opening that kind of conversation so that hopefully we can continue to have
Kind of
conversations
normalize
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, normalize it. So, if in 5 years he's having a terrible day and it's a lot more upsetting, and maybe it's some something's going on at school, or at one of his extracurriculars or with his friends or whatever, that hopefully he will still be able to talk about it, because it, like, I don't know about you, but my parents were probably the last people I wanted to talk to about my
Yeah.
problems. And yet, as I got older, I realized my parents had a lot of knowledge and experience that they could bestow. And um, yeah, I don't know if that's just something that comes with age or what have you, but um,
Yeah, I think so. When you
had I
mature,
had,
yeah.
yeah,
Because you
had I
think
had
you
that
know everything for so
opportunity.
long. Sorry.
Totally, totally. Especially like adolescent years, like you think you run that shit, and it's like your parents invented it, more or less.
Yeah.
So cool it. um, and I'm sure every family goes through that same sort of like period of time, if you will. I remember my aunt telling me, like, my cousin to me, I was like, she never did any wrong. Never. And my aunt was like, well, she was a pretty feisty toddler. And she was like, but she was like overall great, like never got into any like real trouble or anything like that. She's like, but her and your uncle had it out in like middle school, like in the intermediate years. Um, she's like, it's a transitional time. Like, it makes a lot of sense. She's like, I felt like we were still good. We were still good for sure. And she's like, but her and her dad, not so good. And I laughed. I was like, I would have never imagined, because like they're two peas in a pod, but maybe
Yeah.
that's why they butted heads a little bit at that time. So
Yeah. You don't always see how the sausage is made, you know?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So um where did this all stem from? I feel like I wanted to ask you the same question.
What was the question again?
I'm not sure. But initially we had talked about like extracurriculars, and will you do multiple
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
a week?
Yeah. I'm
And
really
yeah,
good for one night a week right now. Well, it's just not like we the library here does is not an act. It's an activity, but it's not like a organized
to
one per
drop
se.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, the library does a thing called STEAM Quest.
Nice.
So it's all like science and tech stuff or whatever. Usually
Yeah.
just arts and crafts, but there's generally some sort of educational piece to it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
usually it's just like a very small piece because they have like a half hour, 45 minutes to do this, and it's free. You show up, kids sit around a
Mhm.
table. There's a lady there named Amy, and she runs the kids through whatever it is that they're doing, and they all have a great time.
That's
So
great. Yeah.
we do, yeah, 2 nights a week, I suppose you could say, but
Yeah.
it's really close to the house, and it's, you know what I mean.
It's not
It's not super time.
strenuous.
If I get bored, I'll go walk around the library and find a book and read. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah.
but yeah, I think, and maybe when I get older and I start to calm down a bit, I'll realize I can do more activities with them after school throughout the week and not feel so run over by it.
Well, I think there's a bit of both. Like there's a healthy normal
Mm.
for them and a healthy normal for you, and those are all going to be different because I mean, your
So
kids are
here's a
different
question
than
then.
you. They're different than each other. They might not want to do activities more than once a week either, right?
I was thinking about this earlier today. Is,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about normal, and there's a lot of
Okay.
people that don't like the word normal, and this
Mm-hmm.
kind of ties
Mm-hmm.
into other stuff we are talking about.
What
Self
is it?
confidence, your self image, how you view yourself, and there might be aspects about you, whether physical or mental or your character or whatever, how you do things, and you might think that it's not normal, or you don't look
Yeah.
normal, or this part of me isn't normal.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here wondering, like, if you lined up 1,000 people, say, let's just talk
Right.
about body types, right? If you lined up a
Yeah. Yeah.
thousand people, which
Yeah.
one of those is the normal person?
Uh-huh.
If you isolated one feature of that individual, which
Yeah.
which one of those people has the normal version of, you know what I mean? Like,
I think we stop talking about normal in those instances and we start talking about like median. Is that the right word?
sorry, say it
Or
again.
the like the average amount or the median amount of things. Like
Sorry, I was more
there's a
talking
there's
about,
like
like,
but yes, I understand like less technically what you're talking about is um like who decided what normal is.
not necessarily that. I guess my point is that there is no such thing as normal.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not happy with what I see because, maybe I'm not like jacked like Schwarzenegger, you know what I mean?
But that's not normal either,
Well,
Jack
that's my point. So
Schwarzenegger.
there is
Yeah,
no normal.
yeah.
It's
Is there ideal? And we're all
well,
trying to strive towards ideal, and we're all at this sort of like median spot.
I wonder then what
Is
ideal
there
is,
a
and
range of normal? What is
I think,
ideal? Everybody's concept of ideal is different.
what if
Um,
everyone
yeah.
was fine just the way they are?
Oh my God.
What if?
What a concept. What if I think that should be, maybe this is just me. Um, why isn't that
Yeah.
normalized?
Why don't we normalize
Everybody just
people
being
just being
ourselves.
okay with who they are and how they
Yeah.
look and how they are, like how the personality, you know what I mean? I'm often really
Yeah.
self-conscious about how loud I am and how outgoing I can be. You know what I mean? It's
Specifically in this mask, right?
yeah, yeah,
During
seriously.
this podcast. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
But like, I'm in therapy and I'm trying to figure out a lot of stuff, and I keep telling myself that I'm working towards this version of me. I'm working towards this kind of me. And one thing
Okay.
that's going to streamline that journey a lot is realizing that the way I am now is fine. It's who I am, and I just have to be okay with that.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I
Yes.
think,
Self.
yeah.
That's your, what do they call it? Self identity. You were saying you watched Inside Out too, yeah?
Hmm.
Okay. So that, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it, but like she's re-identifying herself. And in that process, like her body is going through physical changes. And so she's creating this new self identity as her physiology is changing as well. And it's causing her to like question everything. And then all of a sudden her self identity is, I'll say, negative.
Hmm.
It goes from being I think she used to say I'm a good person, and then her self identity then becomes I'm not good enough. Or is that what she says?
Something like that. I'm really
Maybe
focused on
I'm
the
getting
fact
it,
that
but
I'm
yeah,
being compared to a
self doubt.
prepubescent cartoon girl, but I think
No, I'm getting
I
there.
think
I'm
that's
getting there.
accurate.
I And I think with, I don't want to say with every stage in life, but with every chapter, we'll say like big chapters of our lives, like I think we redefine in adolescence, we redefine in young adulthood, we redefine in parenthood for sure. And then I'm sure we'll go through something again that's like midlife, and then uh you know s- maybe senior, I don't want to say seniors, but like I don't know what the next stage even looks like. Maybe I'll know more when I get
Death.
closer to it, but like that too. But
Well, that's after
yeah,
seniors.
I think we go through yeah, fair. I think we go through late senior.
Yeah.
I think we go through these evolutions in ourselves many times, and what I've been saying ab- about this period of growth in myself is that like I'm uploading the new like if I were to compare it, like I need to do a software update, because like the beliefs, they're not serving me and they're not going to serve me. And so I need to like, as the tools that I have like built and I continue to grow upon, I feel like I need to continue to update the information that I have and like how I see myself, and like just keep doing these things intentionally, and that's a big part of it too. But I feel like we've gotten away from what you were saying, and now I can't remember
No, I think it's
where
fine.
you're going with this. But yeah, like you're, oh, with this movie, yeah, so like she's redefining herself and then she finds a happy medium with all of the things that have happened, and not all of it is like Joy's obsessed with like everything being full of joy, and she has this moment where she's like, maybe as you get older you experience less joy. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's like the same way that we perceive time as we get older, because we've lived longer, our perception of time changes. And so things seem to be happening faster. I think all it is that we just have like such a large database that now we have so many catalogs to look back over, in time, like in our memories. And I think that that's the same with like how we grow and build ourselves, if you will. Like
Yeah.
there are more events that are
Yeah.
maybe hurtful or sad or anger causing or grief inducing or whatever, but there also are probably equivalent amounts of like joy and excitement and whatever else that
Hmm.
happened too. Anyways, and it's taking all of that and, like you said, not looking at it from a getting to this idealistic version of self, but like you said, realizing that yourself right now is the thing,
Hmm. Yeah.
and seeing yourself for what you really are. Is that the right way to say that?
I mean, I feel like that makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
And then yeah, if because I think maybe you're like you're talking about these software updates, you're patching the bugs and
Hmm.
stuff. Maybe if you're doing that from a point of self love and self respect and care, you know what I mean, instead of self loathing and hatred and
Yeah.
misery, maybe
Yeah,
it's
like
gonna
I'll
make that
delete those
journey.
apps. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it'll make the journey a touch easier for you and maybe a bit more enjoyable, because I know it's not easy to
Hmm.
for a lot of people to identify the things about themselves that they want to change and then go ahead and make that change.
I mean, it takes years of work, I think. It's not an overnight thing either.
Mm-mm. That's a big thing to remember too.
Yeah.
It's nothing's that fast.
Yeah, my gosh.
And
Anyhow.
on that
Yeah,
bombshell,
I feel like we covered it all.
this is a good one. We haven't done a 90-minute show in a while. Whew.
Yeah. Sorry, you just said, and on that bombshell, and it made me really sad because we watched the last It's not Top Gear anymore. It's the Grand Tour.
Mm.
Have you seen it? And they said like this is it. This is the last one. They talked about it so many times. Like they're all I don't say elderly, but like they're all seniors now.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do like one last hurrah, and they did. Oh, and Jordan and I were watching it, and I was like, this is so sweet. Like they're just they had like a rap in the last episode where you can see them all hugging each other, and just like you can see how grateful they are, and like you could see the emotion. Oh man, it just
End of an era.
yeah, truly, truly. Even after being canceled and all that
Punching
that fun stuff.
producers and
Yeah. Oh, hi, Maple.
all right. I think
Well, thank you so much for this lovely episode.
yeah, I really appreciate that. And
Yeah.
look forward to next week when we get to discuss the most and least offensive children's costumes
That we've seen. Yeah. Report
and on the
back.
street. Yeah, and then we'll also discuss whether or not we like teenagers trick or treating when all they wear is a hoodie.
We will definitely review that.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, toodles. People will let you in a minute. You